What's up guys, Techmas here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Windows CES, apparently their last CES keynote. And unfortunately, overall, I have to say I was not exactly impressed with their presentation of the Windows products, which really didn't show anything new per se. Okay, so basically it started off with CEO Steve Ballmer, and yes, that guy from American Idol. Forgive me, I don't know his name, and I really don't care. Do apologize if you're an American Idol fan anyways. But anyways, this is a review of the Microsoft keynote, or their last keynote. First initial impressions were, I've seen it, and lastly, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so they first start talking about Windows Phone 7 and the basic announcement of another Windows Phone 7 powered HTC Titan 2, which is interesting to an extent. Okay, another Windows Phone 7. Now, it did make me interested in what they had to offer as far as their phones go, and it's an interesting idea. I'm not exactly against it. I own Windows products, I own Apple products, I even own Linux products, or Ubuntu products. Not really, you can't really own a Ubuntu product, it's more or less an operating system. But anyways, I digress. However, I have to say that all they really did in this presentation was showcase off the phone when they first started. Okay, so then they started moving in to their laptops. Basically, they started talking about their phones, demonstrating their phones, showing the power of Bing search, but now it's about their laptops. And they showed a bunch of their laptops, a bunch of their slim laptops and Dell, and they showed how cool it was, and yeah, they're interesting. They're very slim, and I have to say that's kind of the future of computers. I think is we're going to get away from this huge form factor here, focus on the slim, because now that's where tablets are going. And then they started talking about Windows 8, and I said, okay, well, it's a cool idea. They showcased the App Store, which apparently is going to be shipped with Windows 8, which is very nice. It's a good idea. One thing they didn't mention every time they showcase their apps, which is very similar to like an iPhone-style app, or it's very similar to an Android app. You launch it, it's in full screen. It's even a Mac OS X app at that point. It was very interesting, and it's great for the common user or an end user, for example, that knew to an extent how to operate a computer, but aside from that, there's nothing else. They never, in this whole entire presentation of Windows 8, they never talked about the classic desktop experience. I hate to say it, but as a power user and as learning this, they're not exactly going to talk about this interface, and I'm not going to be using that for monitoring a server. So as far as appealing to the advanced user, you're limited. And this is very unfortunate. They didn't show much. They just showed it as an app. Now, on the other hand, I have an HP touchpad, and with Windows 8 on it, it will run wonderfully. In fact, better than Android. I actually think that this will appeal to tablet owners exclusively. I would love to get a hold of this on a tablet. This thing is blazing for tablets. Great tablet, because you don't want a full desktop experience when you're on the go. To an extent of, okay, if I want to access my files quickly. Okay, this is a great tablet. This is just a great tablet operating system. I think Microsoft actually has it going for this. But to start to fuse that tablet interface with a desktop interface, not going to happen. In fact, I actually tried some early versions of Windows 8, and I'll be doing a showcase of Windows 8 once they have a better release on it. And I have to say, they have a desktop, but as soon as you hit that start menu, you know how you usually have the start menu where you can search. There's a quick search, you can find your documents very fast. It just brings you into what they call the Metro UI, which is really the showcase of this whole entire CES. And it's kind of a shame that it was their last, because in my opinion, like I said, it's just not the best out there. I hate to say it, but Apple has done better with their keynotes. Maybe it's because it's Apple, maybe because they have a better way of marketing their products, but I have to say, when things come out from Apple, usually, on the other hand, the iPhone 4S is not the case, usually it is revolutionary to an extent of allowing more market share to continue. Whereas this whole entire keynote was more or less a demonstration of what they already had. So with the Windows 8, they already demonstrated what they had. And they did not talk about the hardcore users and how the power users will benefit from this. This is more about the home computing, which I respect. I definitely respect. And I just think that they were focused way too much on the home user. And they this is CES. They have to appeal to the geek users, okay? CES is Consumer Electronics Show. Granted, you may not have all these geek users, but you have mostly geek users who are at the show, and they're hardcore users. Chances are, if you're in CES, you're a geek, okay? Or you are just lucky that you have this position to get to CES, and you're just interested in computers. Otherwise, you're a geek. And you know what? I tend to find with most geeks, they want to change things. They want to have customization. And with Windows 7, on the other hand, you can do this. I like Windows 7. I actually think what they should do is have Windows 7 and Windows 8 be a whole entire different category. Windows 7 appeals to the power users, whereas Windows 8 will be more or less the touchscreen environment, the Metro UI, which just seems like a good idea for tablets. Like I said, I can't wait to get this thing on the HP touchpad. By the way, once they also release another HP touchpad, which is going to be running Windows 8, the HP touchpad is not gone by any means. So, anyways, I digressed a little bit here, but the last thing and the major thing that I was actually a little bit wowed about was their Xbox 360. Now, they showed their media, and they showed, okay, you can interact with things, again, showing what you already know, and showing that you can use this, Bing search, and it's stuff you already know. And I'm not trying to be a bad public speaker by saying you know, because most people who know the Xbox experience already know about these searching features they implemented in December. And it's very nice, to be quite honest. I love Microsoft, don't get me wrong. I just don't think the CES note was great. Now, what they impressed me on was actually an ironic thing meant for little kids. It was interactive TV. And a TV show like Sesame Street, they showed a little girl basically interacting with the TV show, and basically it's getting kids more into the digital age with saying, okay, how many coconuts are we going to throw into a barrel or something like that? And the little kid will just go up and throw coconuts, like pretty much just like this. And the TV will interact with this kid, and you can have a two-way conversation with your TV. Now, this is what brings me to an interesting point about the future. And again, this video is all about digressing because the CES note sure as hell didn't do it for me. But I saw in a video, Fahrenheit 451, good video, good movie, where they interacted with the TV, and they played various topics. Now, this is the exact point here. The Xbox 360, with that program, is going to have people interacting with their TVs. Okay, now you can be the murder detective, or you can discover certain new worlds, certain new things that are out there. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but this is how our future is reacting. Okay, you had video games. Video games are very cool, but now you're going to have interactive TV where you are the actor, and it brings you into this digital world. And I think this is very cool. And that's the thing. I really liked that part of CES, and if only the whole thing was more about drawing you into the digital world. I mean, people could argue the other side, saying, oh, well, it's all about social media, they're talking all this stuff. It's very nice to have Windows Phone 7 where you can organize your stuff, and then it's nice to have Windows Phone 8. Actually, that'll be the next thing, but Windows 8, where you'll be able to have this fused Metro UI for tablets. I mean, you are drawn into the digital world that way, but not the same way as this Kinect, and this is what it allows you to do with the Kinect, and I actually really enjoyed this. But as far as giving hardcore users what they want in this video, maybe that wasn't the point of the CES, I see that, but on the other hand, they didn't give anybody who didn't know about or already had an Xbox, for example, or already had Windows Phone 7 what they already used. It's just like, oh, this is a demonstration video. And I have to say, overall, I'm just quite frankly disappointed in the CES. This keynote, it's like, yeah, I know about it, yeah, I know about it, yeah, I know about it. Now, one thing I do like is that they streamed this live, so I was able to watch it using, just a computer connection. But, on the other hand, it didn't impress me. In fact, there were some problems with the live video, which is obviously prone to having problems, but they showed copyrighted material, and they couldn't show that, so they interrupted the live video, and thusly destroyed my whole entire view of certain aspects of this keynote. So I can't say about certain things. However, I can say overall my opinion on this keynote was that it could have been more enforced to the future. Yes, Metro UI is good for end users. Yes, it works well on tablets, and it's good for people who don't know what they're doing with electronics. But what about the hardcore audience? You haven't talked about that. And that's what CES is. CES has a bunch of geeks there, and I think many people are just scratching their head. They're like, what? Okay, this is very nice for the end user, but what if I want to do something more advanced, And there's people that do this every day, and books like this, like I said, prop here, allow you to do this. I'm taking some hardware classes in college, and obviously going to become CompTIA certified and all that stuff, and networking. But, you gotta showcase off some hardcore stuff, and I'd say that the only thing I really enjoyed about this presentation overall is the whole implementation of you are the actor. You are being drawn into this digital world, and I actually really enjoyed that part. I'm like, wow. Now the future is really almost here with Fahrenheit 451. And if you have not read that book or seen the movie, it is a great movie to see because it talks about the future. And this is very interesting. It's so weird how close it has got to what they've described as the future. It is the future. And the future is now in the year 2012, where anything is possible. This year will be the year for tablets. This year will be the year for Windows if they focus on the right things. But again, like I said, you gotta appeal to the hardcore users overall. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm curious to hear about your thoughts on the CES keynote, the last Microsoft keynote, which, quite frankly, why didn't they have Bill Gates come? I don't know, but it was just a little bit disappointing. I'm underwhelmed at the result of the keynote, so I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on this, if you're underwhelmed or whatever. In fact, one thing I really didn't like was the Twitter choir. It was very interesting, but musically horrible. Alright, so that's pretty much it for today, guys. Thank you, guys, for watching this video. Definitely give this a thumbs up, and obviously comment, rate. I shouldn't say rate anymore because YouTube's gone with the 5-star rating. But subscribe to my channel, and we will talk more. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts. We can do a Google Live hangout and discuss this. So thank you guys for watching. TechMiss, your source for tech.